views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Chari Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Cafe con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll discuss the debate on whether or not it will be safe for schools to reopen in the fall when we speak to the president of the United Federation of Teachers, Michael Mulgrew. After that, we'll hear from the executive chef and owner of Freakin Rican about his tasty seasoning as we discuss the controversy surrounding Goya. And we'll learn about the Mind Builders for Creative Arts Center summer virtual classes for students, including dance, music, and martial arts for all to enjoy. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight features musical artist Michelle Marie, a Bronx native, who will tell us the inspiration behind her music, and she'll be performing her new single, Used to This, You Don't Wanna Miss. So, sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome back to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Cafe con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. While you're there, don't forget, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Snapchat, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So, as we get closer to September, the big question is whether or not it will be safe for kids to go back to school in the fall. And according to Governor Cuomo, a region must be in phase 4 and the daily infection rate must remain below 5% using a 14-day average for schools to reopen. In the meantime, Mayor de Blasio and New York City Chancellor Richard Carranza have unveiled their blended learning plan for the city's 1.1 million students. And joining us to discuss more on these issues, we welcome United Federation of Teachers President Michael Mulgrew. Hello and welcome, and thank you for being here with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope you're having a decent day in the middle of a pandemic in July and August. July in New York City.
Yeah, July and August. You're already jumping into August because I already know where your mind is. I mean, it's unbelievable that the reopening of school is even already in the works. All right, so let's start with introducing who the United Federation for Teachers are.
Okay. United Federation of Teachers is it's the largest union local in the entire United States. We have approximately a little bit over 200,000 members. We represent majority of people who work in schools, but we also represent a whole bunch of private sector employees, small businesses, as well as a lot of nurses. We represent nurses at both NYU, at the Northwell facility, and visiting nurse service. And we're just a bunch of folks. It's a union based on everyone who cares about people, who want to dedicate their life to caring about people and educating people.
So when you say represent, you show up as a union that represents on behalf of these individuals for what purposes?
Legally, we are the holder of the collective bargaining certificate for all of those members, but we pride ourselves on being a lot more than just what we which we consider to be a traditional union. Mm-hmm. We are involved in so many different issues, both politically and social issues, throughout our history, and we take great pride in that. We also take great pride in our own diversity, which is quite large. Politically, We run the entire gamut from hard right to hard left and everybody in between. And I love when we have delegate assemblies. That's our governing body. When a couple of thousand people get together, because those are some real great conversations that can be quite passionate at times.
So, what kind of influence does the United Federation of Teachers have on the reopening of the schools this semester, this fall?
We've been doing more of the work. We've been doing this work since probably the second week of April. Our own staff started figuring out if we were going to do social distancing inside of the schools, what would that look like? By the end of April, we had already come to the conclusion that the only way if we could open schools safely, the only way to do it would be what is now being called a blended learning model. We were calling it a hybrid back then. And at that moment, we want to put it in context. We were at the height of the pandemic here in New York City, and
Right.
hopefully we don't have to go through that again. And that's really what we're basing all of our decisions on. But we had a lot to do with closing the schools. The mayor didn't want to do that. We had to go public in a major ugly fight to get the schools closed. But we're not, I want to be clear to everyone, we're not ready to open yet.
We're not.
We are not ready to open yet. We have a long way to go, and there's a lot of things that we can control, but there's a lot of things that are not in our control. So this is a steep hill we're trying to climb at this moment.
Understood. And so, what kind of steps need to be taken, and where are we in those steps to reopening?
Well, City Hall just recently engaged in the process. When you spoke before about, we're already talking about reopening in education world, we start planning for the opening of school in a regular school year in April. So the fact that the mayor didn't announce that we were doing blended, which we knew was the only way we could get open until just recently, really has put us behind the eight ball.
Right.
So now what we have under our control is the safety conditions inside of every school. We're testing the airflow in each of the buildings. We're working with the Department of Ed and the Principals Union. We meet not just Zoom-wise, but we actually meet physically on a weekly basis. We do social distancing with our mask on because we want to know what we're asking people to do themselves. Programming buildings, asking parents, do you want your child to come back if you feel safe? If not, we have to arrange a remote learning process for you. That stuff we have control of. What we don't have control of is we don't believe that we can open safely without more funding. So that becomes a federal issue. And we're pushing very hard for the HEROES Act. And this union, the United Federation of Teachers of New York City, is now coordinating with 20 different states with teachers and parents in those states to try to get that money passed. Without that money, we don't see how we can open. And then the other piece is we don't know where the virus is going to be in New York City itself.
Right.
At the end of August, beginning of September, my favorite line is, we've been to hell and come back, and we don't want to go back to hell.
Right.
But what we see going on in the rest of this country, I mean, this is a big challenge that New York City is going to remain safe because, look, we're the epicenter of people traveling in and out of it.
Right. And so, okay, so you're referencing the funding that the president is saying that he's not going to give us unless we reopen. So this is all a catch-22 going on here.
It really depends on how it's passed. Just because he's saying it doesn't mean it's going to be that way. And I don't know what his definition of look, when it comes to the president, I don't have much to say, okay?
I'm sorry to bring that into the conversation, but I'm
mean,
thinking about our children,
when it comes to the president, I mean, it's clear he doesn't care about the health and well-being of children or the community. I mean, I think he's made it pretty obvious at this point where he sided on this. But for us, it's about the Senate. Will the Senate pass it? And if they do pass it, will it be veto-proof? And if they do it, we already know we have that in Congress, then it doesn't matter what he does at that point. But then it comes down to the virus itself here in New York City. And then go back to what we can control, and it's not just the union, but it's the city. Are we going to have all the PPE in place in every school building? Is the cleaning products going to be in place? Are we going to have extra custodial staff? All of these things, are the buses ready to go? And have we set up a way where you can transport children safely in the buses? Those things are under the city's control, but they're not done yet.
Right, and then it doubles up, right? Because we're talking about blended learning, where it's alternate studies for the
They,
actual students. Correct, right?
yeah, yeah, there's different models, but basically, some days you go to school and some days you don't. And when you're not in school, you're doing blended learning. We learned a lot about that over the last 4 months. Remember, we did it with no support, with no plan, no training. We did it without it, and I thought we were quite successful, especially when I looked at other school districts. We really did well, but it's no substitute for in-person learning. It's not even close, but we can make that better. And we have a team at the union right now putting together what would a blended learning day look like now that we have all this experience in it. And that's what we're hoping the Department of Ed and the city agrees to, because we're always trying to make things better, because it's our school system.
Right,
We take great pride in it. It's ours. It's not the mayor's.
right.
It wasn't Giuliani's. It wasn't Bloomberg's. It's not de Blasio's. It's our school system. You're the parent. It's your school system. It's your child's school system. And I wish that people, elected officials in New York City, would really speak of it that way. It's not their system. It's the community system.
So before we go, where do you see us going from here? Where we are right now in July?
Look, this is the worst summer I have ever had as an educator, and I know it will continue to be that way. If you ask me right now, I'd be 60% I'd be 60-40, 60% we're not going to reopen because of what's not in our control, as well as the challenges we have with the Department of Ed in New York City. But I think we have to plan for remote instruction, and we also have to plan for if we do have this blended learning model. It would be irresponsible if we did not try to make both of these things a reality if we get the opportunity to do it, and then leave it to parents to choose. And we have to understand that everything we decide is based on safety, safety, and safety at all times. As I said, we're not going back to hell, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, thank you for bringing it to our viewers and sharing your expertise and your concerns. Thank you, Michael Mulgrew, President.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Michael Mulgrew, United Federation of Teachers President. Once again, you guys, for more information on the United Federation of Teachers, and updates on the reopening of New York City schools, you can visit uft.org. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll learn how one restaurant owner is bringing seasonings to the community. In the making, created in 1790 to allocate our U.S. population and economy, and every 10 years check-in determining our community residents and needs. Women Voices Lead Suffrage Centennial acknowledges another year of elections, while Women in the Heights artists celebrate their 10 years anniversary through Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance guidance to ensure Uptown is recorded through our census count is how we identify our community needs. Although we are living in a social distancing era, thanks to the worldwide internet, we now have the means to hear the popular voices. So don't be left out. Go to my2020census.gov and make sure to be counted. Welcome back to Open. So, Goya Foods recently made headlines with the CEO who praised Trump by saying the country was truly blessed to have him as a leader. And well, this immediately created a still growing online boycott with hashtags such as hashtag Goya Way and boycott Goya. So our next guest, well, our next guest's website temporarily crashed based on his creation of his own brand of sazon, adobo, and sofrito. He's the executive chef and owner of the Freakin restaurant in Astoria, Queens, joining us to tell us more about his seasoning. Please welcome
How are
Derek.
you?
Oh yeah, Derek,
Hola, mi
congratulations.
gente.
So,
I'm so excited.
oh my gosh, we're excited to have you,
Thank
and
you.
I'm really excited to share your journey with everyone because it seems as though it's pouring gold over you right about now.
Thank God. Thank
I
God.
mean, I opened up with your website crashing temporarily, but let's talk a little bit about your journey. Right, were raised in the Bronx. You reside in Astoria. Well, you reside in Queens. Your restaurant's in Astoria, Queens. Um, Curiosity, why did you choose to open a restaurant in Queens versus the Bronx?
Well, I love the Bronx because that's where I come from. It's my roots. But I lived pretty much all my life in Queens. So I opened up one restaurant in Queens, which failed, and then it just led me to continue on my journey with food street fairs. I did street fairs for many years to self-fund the opening of the restaurant, and I just started looking for a restaurant in Queens because that's where I was living most of my life, my adult life.
Okay, and so it's interesting. You said you opened up a restaurant and it failed. It wasn't called the Freakin Rican at that time.
No, it was actually called Mi Isla. I knew very little about business. I thought I knew about business, but I really did not know enough. And so I lost everything. And with that struggle came como ese deseo, like that yearning to want it again. And that's what made me start selling food at street fairs and branding myself until now. Look at all of this,
Right. Look at all of this. We're gonna
crazy.
lead up to it now, and congratulations because
Thank
this
you.
is a wonderful story of perseverance, right? The one thing you did know is that this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to pass on your family's recipes with your own seasoning, your own flavoring way, right? Because the flavors and seasonings that you create are kind of part of our cultural upbringing.
Definitely.
I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm very familiar. I make my own sofrito. The sazon and adobo are like pretty much a quick fix.
Staples.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You season everything with it, It's like you cannot not have it.
And so you have the restaurant that opened up in Astoria that's doing well,
Amazing. Thank God.
considering,
Very,
right?
very, very well.
And so I'm assuming you have outdoor seating for the restaurant.
Yes. Now we have outdoor seating. Before the pandemic, I mean, we would have lines about an hour long to just come in and sit and eat at our restaurant. Now, thank God, we've had some tribulations with this pandemic. But now with the outdoor seating, a lot of people are coming out, and the support is just flooding us so much that our website crashed.
Right. Let's talk about the website crash. So I obviously introduced the current situation that I'm sure everybody is
Is
informed
aware of.
about, right? Because it's trending online.
Yes.
It went viral, and so I really am here to discuss alternatives, and you happen to have these alternatives, and they're
Yes.
also available online, right? So what do we have there?
So here, this is our all-natural adobo. So our adobo is made with pink Himalayan salt, which is natural. It's low in sodium, has no color, no additives. And this is all of our seasonings are best sellers. They sell like crazy. We've had the adobo now for about maybe, I want to say about 4 years. We also have, everything is low in sodium and no MSG. I'm so against MSG, and I want to create products that that give you the flavor but don't compromise your health.
Right.
Because
Himalayan salt is a big
as Latinos, so many of us have high blood pressure, diabetes, so we need to switch up the tone, and that's what I did with these products. So this here is our all-natural sazon. It gives amazing color to the food with achote, not food coloring, and again, no MSG and low in salt. I love our products, and this is, by the way, how we season our food in the restaurant. We use, of course, our sazon, our adobo. So all of our food has our seasonings, and of course, we make a ton of sofrito, because our food contains a lot of sofrito. You could give your food so much flavor without salt, just using sofrito, and it has no salt, no nothing artificial,
Right.
completely natural.
And so the sofrito, the way you sell it frozen if you're delivering
Frozen.
it? Like, how does that work? Like, you just have them packed frozen and then people order online and you just...
Yes. Well, a lot of people come into the store. Last week, a ton of people, obviously with everything that's going on, a ton of people came to pick up their sofrito, their adobo. We sell it frozen and we ship it frozen. We ship it with ice bricks, and we also ship nationwide. We've always shipped nationwide. We ship this as well as Puerto Rican pasteles. You know how hard it is to find Puerto Rican pasteles.
Oh
We
my
ship
God.
them all year round.
Oh my gosh, Yoshia, me está cantando. Hola. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, Derek. I didn't know you
Mija,
guys
it's a
were
lot of
selling-
work. It's a lot of work to do all of that.
It is, pero pasteles available all year round?
All year round. And we sell, we ship to Alaska, to Hawaii, to Chicago, everywhere, nationwide.
Well,
So
you know,
it's amazing how we started out in the street selling food, and now we're known nationwide. De verdad que una bendición.
oh wow,
I'm very, very grateful.
I'm very happy for you. I can sense your humility and el orgullo and
Of course, of course.
your representation of perseverance. I mean,
Of
you
course.
are a true inspiration of what it means
Thank
to
you.
just stick to what you love and trust that the rest will
You
follow.
have to. You have to.
And thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. And if anybody wanted to order some adobo, sazon, and sofrito, they would go to where?
www.thefreakinnyc.com.
Beautiful. Gracias. Nice to
Thank you.
have you. Thank you for sharing with our viewers, Derek Lopez, the
Thank you so much. Thank
All right,
you.
once again, you guys, to order some of the Freakin' Rican sazon, adobo, and sofrito, you can visit the freakinricanrestaurant.com and make sure to follow them on Twitter at the Freakin' Rican on Instagram. There you go. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about some summer programs for kids to enjoy. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Open. So as we continue navigating through the do's and don'ts due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Everything that includes large gatherings has been canceled, including summer camps. And so the Mind Builders Creative Arts Center is holding its summer 2020 virtual classes that include dance, music, martial arts, and Arts Passage Express. They even have a Fit for Life Zumba class that's for all ages to enjoy. And here to tell us more, we welcome Mind Builders Creative Arts Center Dance Director Melveda Hughes and Arts Instructor and Board Member Onyedika Chuke. Hello and welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Good to be here.
I know, it's always wonderful when we have some form of exchange, right? We're living in this virtual day and age. However, it is what it is, and we have to make the most out of our current circumstance. So it's lovely that Mind Builders is offering all of this to, well, keep us fit, because that's a big issue going on right now as well. So let's talk a little bit about the programs and what the qualifications are. And I understand there are some that are free, some that are not, and some that started. So please do, let's open up with you, Melveda.
Okay. So again, just thanks for having us here. We love BronxNet, and we just appreciate you so much, what you do for the community. And with that said, I just want to let everyone know that, yes, our classes have started. We're going into our second week of class, but we have 4 more sessions available. So please, if you hear of something, or when you go and check the website, if you see something that turns you on and you're interested in, just give us a call or register. We are still open. And so what we are I'll talk about the free classes first. So one of the dance side free classes that we have is a class with Paige Frazier, and she's a modern dance work instructor, and she's doing a modern dance class. She's focusing on Horton technique. She's a former Ailey dancer, and also she has a story. She is one of the dancers who's had to deal with scoliosis, which a lot of young dancers have. And it's very interesting for them to, figure out ways, and she's figured out some ways to help dancers with that particular condition to continue. And she is having a great dance career. And so one of the focuses of this workshop is for dancers who may have something like scoliosis or some little condition, and helping them to kind of deal with it. So that is her passion.
That's lovely. We're familiar with Paige Frazier. We have her on regularly as well, and we love her story as well. So yes. We share in the same enthusiasm in her perseverance. That seems to be today's theme of the show. And my curiosity lies in wondering whether one needs to be a qualified dancer to participate in her dance sessions, or is it for beginners? Does it matter like what level you're at?
Well, I would say this one is for dancers who have maybe 1 or 2 years of experience. It is for the age of 12 and up. So our middle schoolers, high schoolers who have a serious interest in dance and really, perfecting or really looking at dance as something they may want to continue in their lives, possibly as a profession, would be the ideal candidate for this class.
Got it. So we're going to talk to Onyedika a little bit, and then we'll come back to you. I want to know a little bit about his involvement. I mean, he's a board member of Mind Builders. In addition to that, I understand you're an arts instructor for the Apex program, right?
Correct. Yeah, so I've been on the board with for Mind Builders for around like 4 to 5 years now. And it's an organization I've found to be, I think they have a very touching story, from humble beginnings to, sticking with a neighborhood in the Bronx for, 40 plus years. And I myself, coming from a foster care background and then finding my way through the arts, over time, and just being, sort of like being indebted to to a program like Mind Builders that's just always there for families. And so I just had to join that board and eventually, start to teach with them for the Apex program.
That's lovely. And so what kind of art are you teaching for this summer?
So for the summer, we're focusing on, there's a beautiful exhibition that happened at the Brooklyn Museum, like 2 years ago. and it's called art. During sorry, I might get a little twisted up
That's
here,
okay.
but it's an exhibition that's based on the civil rights movement, and ways that artists are able to like navigate, the social justice issues and things, things that are not quite sitting right within their communities, and still be able to produce art.
Right.
So what we're focusing on is just like a few, artists from, the 60s, and focus on the social rights movement, civil rights movement that's happening now, and
Right.
then looking at the past in which we would have approached this, from the 60s, to contemporary.
Sounds like therapy mixed with some history lessons. And so, what kind of sessions are we looking at? Like, how often during the week, or how many hours? What does that entail?
So right now, so we have 2 sessions a week, so our young people are able to have like a major and a minor. So if you are, working with me as an art student, and you have my art class as a major, you'll still be able to take a minor where you could work with Nathaniel Trice, who is like a dance composer and dancer in his own right, or you could work with, Daniel, who himself is a drama, amazing, dramatist and teacher. So it's not just like walking in and having to just like pick one thing and stick with it. And then we also have teasers, where our young people are able to just, for about a week, to 2 weeks, you're able to just, just like navigate the classes and see which instructors you vibe with, and where you might be able to express yourself the most.
Awesome. So, did your classes start already as well?
So the class has already began, and we have, so it's a 6 week class, a 6 week class. But since we are doing 2 classes per week, that's essentially like 12.
So
Yeah,
there's still room and there's still time for somebody to sign up for your class.
definitely still time. We're always, that's the beautiful thing about Zoom is, your classroom does not really get filled. It's
Right.
not,
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, it's unlimited space. True, true,
It's
true. So,
beautiful that way.
yeah.
There's certain things that you lose in Zoom, or you lose via the online virtual experience, but
Yeah.
space is not the problem. So we still have a lot of space,
Uh-huh.
and we're just looking to welcome as many young people as we can.
Thank you for sharing that. And before we go, Milveda, really quickly, let's run through like kind of skim through the rest of the classes that are being offered from a physical perspective, right? Because trust me, I know I need it.
Well, we do have quite a few interesting classes, and I'd say that the schedule is very diverse in that we have something for everyone. So starting with our babies, we have a class called Dance Party on Thursday mornings at 11:30. And the theme of that class is it's a parent and child together class. And it's a parent and the children just having fun dancing to great music and just having a ball. And then we have for our 6 to 9 age group, we have a ballet jazz class. We have an African dance class. We have also what we call our hip hop battles and freestyling. So in those classes, again, the main focus is they're going to learn a little bit about the ballet and jazz technique, the African technique and folklore, songs, history, and in the hip hop battles and freestyling, they're going to learn how to freestyle and how to battle, how to get that Bronx attitude, to bring that original Bronx attitude into the dance. And so we love that. We also have another great class for ages 9 and up until adults. If you have families who want to take an African dance class together, we have our African dance intergenerational class. So this is done the way I believe African dance was created and taught from the very beginning, family style. Everybody can come in. And also, like Agnetica said, the great thing about Zoom is you can meet your other family members and friends in a Zoom class. Right. So relatives that you have not seen for a minute, invite them to take class with you. And then we also have a class called TikToking. This is where young people get a chance to make up their own little short dances. And it'll be about various themes or whatever they like, whatever turns them on, whatever brings them joy. And then this is one of new classes to our roster in general, and something that is like creating a big a big desire among people. And we have the Afro dance, Afro beat class. Also, that's later on today, Tuesday, I believe at 6:30 for teens. And then we have an urban dance workshop with one of our master teachers, Jocelyn Gutierrez. She's worked with a lot of young artists, musical artists from Jay-Z to Omarion, a lot of different people. So she's doing a workshop as well.
Oh
so
my gosh, you have a nice robust schedule. I mean, I would love to go over the whole thing, but we don't have enough time. But I think everybody got the gist of all that's being offered. And you were right in opening it up by saying there's lots of diverse movement being offered for different age ranges at that. So I just want to thank you both for taking the time to be with us and share all this lovely information and the programs that Mind Builders is offering. Milveda, Onyedika, thank you so much. And I just want to share with our viewers, if you're interested in registering, there's still time for register for Mind Builders Summer 2020 virtual classes. And all you got to do is go to mind-builders.org. All right, don't go anywhere because Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Y'all, I go by Sunny Chiba, part of Uptown Mountain Supreme.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
And we have been invited by Summer Stage to take over their IG on Sunday, July 19th from 2 to 4 p.m. for their new series, People Speak Sundays. And we were invited because we were supposed to perform for them August 1st of this year, but with everything that's been going on, they've been figuring out other ways to get to the people. So if you tune in and if you would like to, you can use the hashtag People Speak Sunday for a chance to be chosen to be featured on our live takeover. So share your art, share your voice, share your poetry, and let's keep this conversation going.
New York Post sports media columnist Andrew Marsh with us today. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us here on the program. I guess I wanted to start off. I love all of the tweets that you've been putting out here during the pandemic, and I wanted to ask you what the best sports media mailbag question you've received so far.
The most popular one is, when's Craig Carton going to return to WFAN? It's going to be in Wednesday's mailbag. Someone asked about Craig and Mike Francesa teaming together. I think there's a better chance that I'll be teaming with Mike than Craig will be. Although Craig could come back to FAN, I do think that's a possibility. So, yeah, I get somewhat. There's one person who always tweets at me every time I send out the mailbag questions. They say, "Are you, what is he say? Are you worried?" He says it like Francesa voice. Are you worried? There's some fun with that. People seem to like it.
I think fans, of course, right now trying to engage as much with sports as things kind of slowly come back. And in today's news, I saw that you're writing about Kevin Durant and his show on ESPN, of course, getting nixed. I guess, thoughts about that, and then also about the NBA bubble in Orlando, because it seems like right now, with the amount of coronavirus tests that are being positive for some of the stars around sports, that it looks like it could be in jeopardy already. Russell Westbrook, the biggest name, of course, right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on how these players come through. I mean, quite honestly, if you look at the statistics, 20 to 40-year-olds do fare better. I mean, I think a big issue is that 20 to 40-year-olds feel invincible, and that's what our issues are in the South, especially, it seems like, in Florida and Texas. So I'm not saying, like, anybody watching or listening that they're immune, but when you look at these players, you can make the argument that they will be able to recover. Now, is that good enough? There could be long-term impacts of this illness. So, but I do think that these leagues kind of have gone in with the idea that, at least at the beginning, they're going to have some positive tests and that they're going to have to deal with it.
And the NFL, too, of course, is trying to work its way back as well. I saw that you wrote a story about Greg Olsen already getting a contract for after he retires to be the number 2 analyst for Fox. But, your thoughts about whether or not the NFL can succeed in this as well.
Well, they've kind of escaped the hopper. They were able to have the draft. They put that on, and that was a respite in the middle of all this, and that was successful. I think if you look at all the sports, the NFL, when you think about playing the actual game, not the other stuff. The other stuff, they kind of have some advantages. You're in one city all week, very regimented. Baseball, you're traveling around. NBA had to create a bubble. So they have the advantage of that. But the actual game, I mean, guys are all over each other. Now, they might have a special face mask. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. You are outside. There's been kind of some science that seems to indicate pretty strongly that being outside, it's much less transferable in terms of the virus. But now they're in where we're getting close to training camp, and we're going to find out NFL, and then college, I think, is an even bigger question. I think the NFL has a much better chance of playing than college. Now, the big college, SEC, the importance of that league to the South and those towns, could they play? I think there's a good chance, but it's not. Nothing's definite, of course. But the NFL and college, but especially college, I think definitely in jeopardy.
And I guess maybe the biggest story of the week, in addition to all of the leagues really trying to work their way back, has been the story about Woj and dropping a Woj bomb, an F-bomb, to a senator in an email about a lot of the stuff that's going on with racial inequality and discussions about the NBA. I really loved your tweet. I actually have it here on my tablet. I wanted to read it verbatim, but you said Woj has the right to email whatever he wants, and ESPN has the right to discipline any way it wants. Both can be true. I was hoping you can elaborate a little bit more about the story.
Yeah, Woj, I think internally has shown contrition, real contrition. So he knows he made a mistake. So look, in this country, you do have the freedom to do what you want. Now, people love to say it's freedom of speech this, freedom of speech that, especially like on Twitter, that, if you work someplace, you should be able to say whatever you want about politics. I don't know, if you're Disney and you're paying me a lot of money, and then you say, look, you're a sports reporter, I don't want you dealing in politics. You have two choices. You either can not take the money and then tweet all you want, or if you take the money, you have to go by their rules. So ESPN has a set of rules, and I mean, it's just there's a decorum that Woj broke that was dumb. You just, regardless if he thought the senator had not good intentions and was just trying to rile things up and score some political points instead of really trying to help China. That's not how you respond. You could delete the email. You could say, I don't think your intentions are good. You don't say, F you. That's just not appropriate, not right, especially if you're a on-air big-time personality. You're going to get hit for that. And look, the senator could have handled it a different way. He could have tried to reach out to Woj and could we have could we have a discussion? Instead, he went public. I mean, so I don't know. I think that's kind of like part of the worst of us in terms of the whole situation. And instead of like reaching our hands out, instead of it's like, gotcha. That's what would be my take on that.
I think you made a great comment, too, about the fact that, of course, he's being retained by ESPN. But if he's not retained by ESPN with his 4 million followers, he'd be doing pretty well just by breaking off and kind of doing his own thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's changed. People who are young people getting into the business. Yeah, I mean, there has been a definite constriction in jobs and legacy media. It's getting smaller. I don't think it's most likely not going to go the other direction, at least anytime soon. Like when I got the Met beat at the Post, it was Dave Waldstein left for the Newark Star Ledger. TJ Quinn was at the Bergen Record. He turned down the job, so they went to me, and they offered me the job. So it wasn't like, oh, we need to put. I mean, yes, obviously it was a compliment at 25, but I was the second choice. But now you can. So I guess there was someone like Woj, who's established and has a following that you mentioned, at least on Twitter for 4 million people. I do think there are ways to go direct to consumer where you don't need ESPN, and when you're an individual, which could be very, very lucrative. And so now, would he have the impact that he does now and the fame? Probably not, but there are also some things. I don't think he's looking to leave, though. I think his contract will be up, but I think he'll remain at ESPN. I don't think that's really something that's going to happen. I don't think this is going to fracture the relationship. I'd be very surprised.
Has it been a challenge to be critical of so many colleagues that and to write about some of these topics?
I try not to be mean. Like, I can be harsh and hard, but I try not to be mean or personal. And the other thing is I try to reach out to people. So I don't try to surprise anybody, and I try to be fair. Sometimes you're going to disagree, and, I don't get to every single person that I write about, but I get to most people who are on the air. Like, they're real people. I mean, they might be rich, they might be famous, may have the greatest job ever. They're still real people. And so you have to take that into account when you write about them and try to be fair. And also the other thing is about what I do more news. I want to find out things you can't see. I mean, everyone can have an opinion, and everyone does nowadays. And even if yours is maybe more informed, and that can help you, when you're in a column, of course. But what really I think we have in terms of like our continued constriction of the media and reporting is like the ability to find out information is a skill that I don't know if it's a hard skill to have or not a hard skill to have, but not everyone has it. And that's what you can provide, and that's your value. And that's where there's value when you talk about going out on your own.
Well, before we let you go, we're going to put you back in the press box on the beat, especially since these days are a little tough to get in the press box, and get your thoughts on which team in Major League Baseball, if you think the Yankees and Mets have a serious shot at going to the World Series. Who would be your favorite to win it all this year?
Yeah, I think the Yankees. I like the Yankees this year. If I had a pick, it's such a weird year, but I'd probably go Yankees-Dodgers. It's kind of chalk. Yeah, so Yankees-Dodgers. Let's go.
It's a great pick. Well, it's great to catch up, Andrew. Appreciate you taking the time to talk about some topics, and love reading the column in the Post.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thanks so much.
Stay safe.
Take care.
Welcome back. Our last guest is a musical artist from the Bronx who, since the age of 14, has been writing music and leading songs at her local church since the age of 16. Her passion is to create music that brings joy, love, and celebrates life. Joining us to tell us more about her solo project, please welcome Michelle Marie. Hello.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, we're doing, but you're definitely bringing in some sunshine there.
Yes, this sun is amazing.
So let's talk about you, your career, and just life during this pandemic, because we're always fascinated to just learn how artists are sustaining themselves during these trivial times.
Yes. Well, I've definitely had a lot of time just to be fixated on my passions. I was an assistant teacher in a school before COVID happened, and didn't have a lot of time. I was always at work from morning to the afternoon. When COVID happened, it was a very serious and terrible thing, but it's how you make the most of your time. And as a creative and also somebody who is an extrovert, I needed to do something, and I just used that time to write music, play more of my guitar, do online seminars that would help further my craft. So that's all of what I've been doing, and I've definitely made the jump now to become a full-time artist and not go back to the school and continue doing this.
So that's lovely, I think, because there's the day job and then there's your passion, right? And I say I think only because I don't know what kind of gigs you're getting now based on these current, arrangements. I do understand that you you're part of a gospel group called Destiny Music Group. Do you guys get hired to perform? I mean, without sounding too morbid, but for eulogies or like how is it that you're able to sustain yourself?
Yeah, so we definitely get calls still. Most of them will be Zoom calls. I still also worship lead at my own church, since churches are open right now, at least in New York. So every Sunday I'm leading at my home church, Harvest Fields Community Church. And also sometimes get called to do other churches on Sundays who just have you come out and sing at their church, of course with social distancing. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now to sustain myself.
And of course, creating and writing, and so which leads me to this solo piece that the single that you released this year called "Used to This." Right, you're going to be performing it for us later. Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, what inspired the actual title, "Used to This."
Yeah, so I wrote it during a time that I was starting to go out with somebody who's now my fiance. He was totally different than what I was used to. And I just didn't know if I wanted to take the leap of faith with him. And something in me just said, all right, let me go for it. And as time went by, I got used to this. And I was like, this is something I can get used to. I really like him. But also for me, the song has a double meaning because with my relationship with God, I also felt as though like I didn't know if I can trust him or if I should. And I took the leap of faith, and it turned out to be joy and love and happiness on the other side. So it's a song for anyone and everyone that I hope everyone could feel those feelings as well when they listen to it.
Well, I'm sure everyone would agree with me in saying that we can certainly use some of that nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
So are there any last words you want to share with our viewers before you sing for us?
No, just that Used to This is out now on all streaming platforms, and also the music video is out on YouTube, and I hope that everybody enjoys it.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it to our viewers. Michelle Marie, you guys don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, Michelle Marie, she's going to perform Used to This when we return. Don't go anywhere. people, welcome back. It's now time for this week's Open Artist Spotlight. Here now to perform her new single, Used to This, accompanied by keyboard player and producer Gary. Please welcome Michelle Marie.
I never thought for a minute that I'd like the change. It's a little strange. This love's something kind of different, but I'll take the chance for you, boy, I'm with it. I was so afraid to let you in. Now things just been so different. You've come and changed things around, turned my whole world upside down. If this is it, then I'll admit I can get used to this. 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 I can get used to this brand new you. I hope it won't leave no time soon. 'Cause if it's true, I can get used to this. And now you're stepping your game up. I keep falling for you, I can't get enough. I know I made you believe you had no chance here with me. My eyes were clouded, but I finally see. I was so afraid to let you in. Now things just been so different. You've come and changed things around, turned my whole world upside down. If this is it, then I'll admit I can get used to this. 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 I can get used to this brand new you. I hope it won't leave no time soon. 'Cause if it's true, I wanna stay right here. I wanna stay right here, right here, right here, right here. I'm here. If this is it, then I'll admit I can get used to this.
I can get used to this too. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. While the sun is shining on you, you just related right back to me. It was a beautiful reflection of the sun that's raining on your face. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. You guys, for more Michelle Marie's single, which can be found on all platforms, you can also visit her on Instagram at It's Michelle Marie _. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through and to your viewers for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the Recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Adios.